Hello, everyone. Right, that's over there. Just gonna make sure, I like to make sure everyone can hear me. Okay, let's see here. Watching myself. Okay, I can hear me, so I'm assuming you can hear me too. Hello, everyone. Oh, I can turn that off. Hi. I'm a little bit late today. Kind of par for the course. All right, we're gonna have a little bit of fun today. Good. Awesome. Okay, good. Gonna wait for some people to come on, see how it goes. I know I'm breaking into some other baby lock educators' time, so may not see a lot of people today, and that's okay. Oh, look, red. That is a quilter's glitter. Okay. Weird girl up there. There we go. But someone decided to take a nap today. That's me. I'm that someone. And didn't want to wake up. Again, that was me. So it happens. So I moved it a little bit later. Thanks to Jason for waking me up and trying to re-wake me up. Anyways, anywho, I'm here. And tonight we're going to be talking about some edge to edge. Now we're going to be using the Solaris tonight. Next week, I want to use the Meridian / Altair. I'm going to say it's probably pretty similar to the Destiny as well. And if you have the Brother-like machines, these are the similar processes. Now with tonight, I am using the built-in designs with the Solaris and the positioning system that's built in with those built-in quilting designs. So yeah, so we're doing it that way. Now after we do next week's, if y'all want, what we can do is when we can come back to the Solaris, because with the Meridian it's going to be different. Let's put it that way. With the Solaris, we can actually do pre-bought designs, let's say that. And I can show y'all how to do that. It can be like kind of like July is the month of quilting or something like that. Because then I want to also come back on the Solaris and show you how to use the border feature, which is really cool. Now I can also show you how to do that on the really on any embroidery machine using the Altair Meridian, putting borders on or quilting in the border, the embroidery quilting in the borders using any embroidery machine. So, hey, Diane. So there are multiple ways. Now I'm going to be using our tricks on the Solaris today. But on the Meridian and Altair next week, we're going to use the tricks there. After that, I'm going to show you, let's say you don't have one of these machines. Let's say you have the Pathfinder. I'm going to show you how to do it without the tricks. And then we'll do the border feature on the Solaris. So this is going to almost be kind of like a month-long thing. And then after that, I'll show you without the tricks, the built-in tricks is what I'm talking about, how to do borders on your regular embroidery machine. Does it matter if you have a baby lock or not? No. So this is going to kind of be with the tricks and without the tricks. And when I say the tricks, I mean the special built-in stuff. So today we're starting with the Solaris built-in tricks. Next week, we're going to do the Meridian Altair built entrance. And then after that, we'll kind of play around. And I think this is good for all embroiderers, you know, because some of y'all in this group don't even have baby locks, and that's a-okay. I love you being here. I want you to be here because you're still learning stuff, right? And so, you know, it's going to cover a lot. So today we're going to do the Solaris, next week, Altair Meridian, and then after that, we're going to build off of that. So it's going to kind of really kind of be about a month-long process. And I think it'd be kind of cool. Now we are going to get away from IQ for a little while. But this is something people ask me about all the time is how can I use my embroidery side of my machine to quilt? Why not? I mean, we have the ability to do that, right? There's not only do we have designs built into our machines, we also have these beautiful pre-bought designs. I should have grabbed. I have some, let me buy, or not, let me buy some. Like I need to buy more. Let me show you something I have here. Now this is by a different brand, a machine brand, and I hope I don't get in trouble for showing this, but it is my show. So, but I loved this quilting collection. I thought it was so sweet. It came out years and years and years ago, I think. I say years and years, I'm not quite sure. But OESD does a lot of designs for another machine brand. And of course, they sell it in different formats. So I'll cover up the machine brand, and you really can't see that. But what you can see is there's tons of different ones on there. And there's some really cute ones. They have holiday ones, all that. So you may buy them when they're like this with a USB. You can buy Zandra Shaw, I believe, has some. There's so many other different quilting, you know, or quilters out there that have different designs that you can purchase that are quilting designs. Now, again, we're not doing that today. We're going to be doing that later on in the month. However, you know, there are some beautiful designs out there that you can use. And so I really like this. This one was by Jessica Schick. It just says Quilting by Design. And she had some really beautiful ones, like, you know, holiday type ones. Like there's some cute cupcakes. There's some bees. That's probably why I first, oh, you know what? I'll have to pull, I know why I bought this one because I taught a class because there was bees on it. I'll pull out my sample next time. And I taught a class on that, how to use your embroidery machine, and we did the bead one. And that's exactly why I kind of remember buying that. So yeah, there's all kind of stuff. Ooh, that one's pretty. Anyway, anywho, let's put it down. So there's so many different options. And if you've never heard of quilting in the hoop, basically what that means is you're going to take your quilt. Doesn't matter what quilt you have. It could be your king size hoop. It could be your little mug rug. It could be whatever you want. And almost like when we're always using our fills to, you know, fill in things, we're going to actually start from the top corner, work our way across, and work all the way down to the bottom. And we're joining step by step, meaning we're going to quilt a section, we're going to join another section and join another section, then move down and join and join and join. And these designs are designed with a starting point, quilt, 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 and an ending point. So with that ending point, we're going to meet up with that and then keep on continuing. So it was really confusing in the beginning for me. Just like anything I have ever done, you know, sewing wise. However, it can be done, right? You can do anything you want, right? You are the master of this machine, so you are able to do this. And I know you can. Like yesterday, I taught a paper piecing class at my local shop. And, you know, it was an intermediate paper piecing class, but I had some ladies who had never paper pieced before. And by the time they left, They were so surprised that they could actually paper piece. It just took practice. It took jumping in there and doing it, and they did fantastic. I was so proud of them. So, you know, it's just jumping in there and making yourself do it. So, a couple tidbits, okay? Oh, you did one block at a time using the embroidery machine. Oh, Diane, I'd love to see that. You need to post that in the group. There go all my cameras. You need to post that in the group. I'd love to see it. So now I'm just doing a 12-inch, basically, I'm gonna call it a block, but a 12-inch square of fabric today, you know, because it's small and it's gonna be quick. I'm not putting a whole quilt in there. Have I done whole quilts? Yes, I have. I just didn't pull any out. So let me give you some quick tidbits about what you want to do. If you've ever taken your quilt to a quilter, then you'll kind of already know this idea. So when you go to put your quilt on a long arm or you take it to a long armor, you always want to have extra fabric hanging outside, extra fabric and backing and batting hanging out the side of your quilt. So we're pretending this piece of fabric right here is my quilt. Okay. And what I've done is added 3 inches onto each side. Yep. 3, and actually I did 4, but you know, who cares? 4 inches onto each side. So that way the long armor can get it safely onto the long arm and quilt it, right? Well, we're going to do the same thing. So I always say more is better. They tell you 3 inches. Yes, I don't worry about that bubble right there. I had some, yeah, a little bit of issues earlier, but I'm not concerned about that bubble right now. So I added 4 inches to each side. So 4 inches here, 4 inches here, 4 inches here of batting and backing. Okay, that's going to all come off later. But why do we do that? For embroidery, so it can fit in the hoop. You're going, but why? That makes no sense. Well, I have to be able to start quilting up here at this corner. If I were to make everything the same size, guess where that fabric would be? Here. And you would never get it quilted, right? So we have to have something hanging outside the edge there to kind of compensate for being able to get this right here, if that makes any sense. So I've got that hoop. Just like you normally hoop, there is no stabilizer, 0 stabilizer. Let me pick up my camera. Yeah. Hey, honey, sorry. I'm so sorry. Get the other one back up. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So that's all you really need. Now you need, of course, bobbin thread and embroidery thread. Now can you use your cotton thread on top? I mean, I'm not going to say no. You just probably want to, let me get everything pulled back here. Okay, that was rude. But I'm sliding. I have a pillow behind me. I would just slow everything down a little bit. I know there's people out there. I am a truist, so I am one of those people who are like, no, it only has to be embroidery thread on top. You know, it's just me. That's how I am. But I know other embroiderers out there are like, no, use your cotton thread. It's fine. I would just say slow it down a little bit, test it out on maybe, you know, some other fabric first before you do that. But your bobbin thread, if you want it to match the top thread, go ahead and wind that on a spool. I mean a bobbin, excuse me, wind it on a bobbin and go ahead and put it on, you know, in your bobbin area thing. And if you want it to match, or if you have a different color, whatever you want it to do. So there's really not much difference in that, right? Today, I'm just going to use my regular finishing touch bobbin thread in the bottom. I do have some green thread threaded up for this peach fabric, just so we can see it really well. I love the peach fabric. I'm not crazy about the green thread, but it may be really pretty. I picked out a really pretty design that's built in. And we're gonna kind of go from there. So again, working on the Solaris. So I am going to, let's see, jump over now. If there's nothing else I want to tell you, I'm just making sure. There are a couple things that we're going to do when we get over to the embroidery side. We're going to treat it like we're free motion quilting, okay? We're going to treat it like we are quilting it ourselves. So when we have embroidery, let me talk about this really quickly. How is your quilt attached to the backing and batting? Adhesive? Carol, great question. Yes, it is. Absolutely it is. That's how I did mine. If you wanted to go around and baste it, I thought about that first, but I just kind of ran out of time. If you want to baste it to if you want to baste it to the batting and the backing, you can, but I would not use pins. This is something you do not want to use any pins in, period. Because you're using the embroidery machine on the whole thing, and you're not going to have time to remove those pins. You're gonna don't use pins, whatever you do. I'm just gonna say that. But I did for this little piece use some adhesive spray. A bigger one, what I might do though, is use adhesive spray front and back. I am a 505 believer. I don't like anything else. This one is the consistency of a Post-it note, and it's not super tacky and it doesn't gum up the needle. It's just my preference. And then you can go around and baste it with a basting stitch. You can either hand stitch it or use a really long stitch on your sewing machine. That's probably a great one. So that's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked that. So yeah. What else? Where are we? Okay. Well, let's just jump over there. So, oh yeah, what I was saying is, traditionally an embroidery machine is going to tie off on the last stitch. We do not want that to happen. We're going to treat this like you are free motion quilting. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you're going to see it here in a little bit. Okay. All right, let's jump on over. We're going to jump to the screen first. And again, I'm doing this on the Solaris with the trick first. Okay. And we're going to do that. Nope, wrong one, wrong one, wrong one. There we go. Oh, there she is. So with the Solaris, what we're going to do is use the fun little features we have today. And then next week, we're going to use the Meridian. After that, we're going to do we're going to call it freeform, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. Just a basic for everybody. But so we're not using IQ period at all. So what we're going to do is go straight into embroidery. And what you'll see down here is in the Q file right down here and I have to say, I hope this is on, I can't remember if this is on the very original Solaris without the upgrades. I'm really not quite sure. So just bear with me. If it's not, I just can't remember. But we're going to go down here. And then we're going to click here. And this is where my border function is, or my border quilting is. And then right here, right next to it, I have this fun little button right here, which is basically my quilting designs that is going to use the function that we're using today. And I have quite a few of them. Let's see. I hope that's not too blurry for you. It does look a little blurry on screen, and I apologize. I'm just not quite sure how to fix that on here. Can I tap it? No? Okay. And I have multiple. Now, I've used this one before. It's some scissors and a sewing machine, all that fun stuff. There's quite a few because I do have the Vision upgrade or the upgrade 3, so I have quite a few. So let's see if I zoom out again. There we go. There we go. So I have 10 of them. And what I decided for today is just to use this pretty little flower over here. So I'm going to tap on that. And what you'll notice is it pops up and it's going to show you how it's going to look. And I said, okay, that's fine. So I'm going to hit set. And then it's going to bring me up to my screen. And this point, you need to, before anything, go ahead and measure your quilt. You just need to measure one side of the width and one side of the height. Okay. So again, I told you earlier, I'm just doing a 12 by 12 inch square. So in this top one, I'm just going to come here and type 12 and set. Remember to hit set, otherwise it won't do anything. And then it'll jump over to number 2 for my length. Same thing, I'm going to hit 12, set. Now it'll go all the way up to 118 inches. That means a very, very large quilt. Okay. Now what I'm going to do down here is tell it what hoop I'm using. I decided to use my 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop. And I tell you, this is the most invaluable or valuable, I don't know how to say it right, hoop you can ever have with these machines. Buy the hoop, 9.5 by 9.5. It is the best hoop. Okay. So there's also an option to flip the design, meaning you can kind of flip it back and forth to see how you like it if you want to. But I've got everything I need in here. So basically what's going to happen is there's 12 inches, 12 inches. I told it my hoop. But over here, if we look at what it's telling me, is it's going to size it perfectly for the piece of fabric I have. And it's going to tell me, okay, it's going to have 3 going this way, meaning 3 passes going this way, and then 2 going down this way. So it's going to stitch 1 section, and then you're going to stop and move the fabric, do a next section, stop, move the fabric, and then another section. Then it's going to jump down here. So basically you're going to have 2 rows. You're going to have 3 sections by 2 rows. Now, if you had a huge quilt, it might say, I don't know, like 5 by 8 or something. I'm just making it up as I go. So now what we're going to do is select next. And this is what it's going to break it down. It's just going to show you there's going to be 2 or 6 total pieces. Okay. Now, if I want, I can change the color. So since I'm using green, I could, if I wanted to, I can change it to green just so I'm, when it comes up on my fabric, because it will show up on my fabric, I can see it. So let's say green. You don't have to, of course, it's totally up to you. And this right here is showing you how it will go. It's going to go across and down. Across, there you go. Another cool thing here is you can do it in a single stitch, which looks more like regular quilting, or a double stitch, which looks more like embroidery. So it could be a heavier, thicker stitch or a thinner stitch. I always leave it on this thinner one because I want it to look more like quilting, right? So now what I'm going to do is select memory. And it's going to say, okay, I'm going to say this. Are you okay? And I'm going to say, heck yeah. And this is because I can do this right now and then come back later. I don't have to start stitching now. So I'm going to say, okay. And now what it's going to do is bring me to where everything is saved, to my save pocket. And the first one is right here, or the first one that to the, in the left upper corner is going to be the one you just saved. So this was me practicing, and here's the one I just saved, okay? So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to bring me up all of everything. It's kind of confusing because you're like, okay, oh gosh, there's so many here. What do I choose? Okay, so let's talk about that. So this very first one is going to be the one it helps me with. Okay. All these other ones, you're going to have to stitch out manually, meaning you're going to have to connect them on your own without any help. This first darker looking one is the one we want to use today. Okay. So now what we're going to do is click that one. And we're going to hit set. Now what it's going to do is it's going to start prompting me, okay? It's going to say, okay, Anna, to begin sewing from the upper left-hand corner of the fabric, or begin sewing from the upper left-hand corner. That's why you saw me hoop it the way I did. So you saw I hooped it right exactly like this, okay? Attach the embroidery frame in the initial sewing position. So let me get the other camera ready, okay? And I'm just going to be jumping back and forth between cameras. Okay. Now I know this is not a great angle, but we're going to bear with each other here. All right. So I'm going to select OK. All right. And then, oops, let's jump back. I do want to show you that real quick. I'm sorry. I should have waited. Okay. So it's going to say use the move pattern keys. Now, those are those little arrows that you see on your screen all the time to align the upper left corner of the pattern area with the upper left corner marking of the area embroidered. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to get a little green, not crosshair, but a little green marker, and that's going to pop up. Now, when this pops up, my projector light's also going to come on. And because of the way cameras work, I don't have fancy super cameras. You're going to see like a little rainbow effect. If you have seizures, you may not want to watch this part, unfortunately, if you get, if you have like epilepsy or anything like that. So just be vigilant that you are going to see some movement when I do this next. So watch what happens. I'm going to switch back over. Okay. So I'm going to say okay on my screen. Okay. Now you'll see a little bit of movement, but look at the design. There's the design. It is real size. Do I tape down the edge of my quilt? No, Janice, I personally don't. You could, but it's going to get caught. Now, like I was saying to Carol earlier, if you wanted to, you could have gone ahead and basted that down with thread, like either hand sew or put it on your machine. I normally don't on something small like this, but if I had a very large quilt in there, I probably would have basted it with my machine with a very long stitch. But yeah, I wouldn't do tape only because it's going to be hard to get out of the stitches. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to move this just a little bit like this. Okay, so you can barely see her, but there's a little green crosshair right there. So it's like a T. So what we're going to do is take that T and put it up in the very corner up here. You can barely see my finger, but I'm gonna jump back just so you can see it. I'm gonna do a lot of back and forth here because I really want you to see what's happening. Okay, but I have this on my screen right here. Okay, don't worry about this stuff right now. I want you to just worry about here. These are the keys I'm going to be using to move that little crosshair up to the corner, okay? So I'm going to jump back to our little guy here. And you're just going to watch me move. Now, I do have it a little darker only because I wanted you to be able to see that very well. So I'm going to go move up. Now, here's the thing. If you find, I'm going to move the camera back a little bit so I don't hit it. If you find you don't get all the way up to the top, let's say it stops right there, that means you need to unhoop and bring this down a little bit. That means you've got it your fabric too high in the hoop, or maybe too high or too far over. And that's what I had to do earlier. I practiced first so I didn't, so it'd make it a little smoother for you. And now I've got it right at the top. And I'm going to move it right over to the corner. And let's see if we can get in there so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. It's hard to see, but I have got that crosshair. Remember, it's a T. So I've got the corner of the T exactly right there. And look, there's my design. How pretty. Okay. So now on the screen, what it's going to say, or it doesn't say anything, it just says, okay. So once I get it there, I'm going to select okay. And now what it's going to do, let's jump over and let me show you that. I have to jump back and forth or else it doesn't make sense, okay? So now it's going to say, use the rotate keys to adjust the angle of the pattern while keeping an eye on the points. So basically, if you go back, when we push OK, the pattern may be up above the line a little bit. So what we want to do, if it is bring that line down. It just happens sometimes. So I'm going to say OK. But mine is perfect. Let me show you. Mine is actually sitting exactly where it should be. Okay, So let me zoom in for you so you can see. So can you see the little green crosshair right there? Now, sometimes it may be up here, but what you would want to do is use let me show you, the degree key. So I will show you that. So these are your degree keys. And so let's say it was way up here. Then what I would want to use is my degree keys to bring it down. So I would go maybe degree down, and it'll go boop, 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 until you get a complete straight line on your fabric. You're watching it on your fabric. You're not watching it on the screen. Okay, so there we go. So awesome. Okay, so mine fit perfectly. I am so proud of that. Okay, so now let's hit okay. And let's see. Now it will move around. I do want you to know that. I want you to know that. You know what I forgot to do here is there's a little arrow right here at the bottom. I forgot to move the arrow over here. It's really no big deal because we're going to be playing with the end point here. So we're going to ignore that little dot right there. Okay. Now what's happening is it's ready to stitch out. So let's go over to the stitch out, or I mean to the camera. So now I'm going to come away here. And we are going to now drop our foot. And we're ready to sew. You know, it would help if the thread was in the needle. I mean, you know, details. Lift the foot. Ooh. You know what? Let me fix that because it jumped completely out of the tension, and that is not going to look pretty if it starts to. All righty. Now we're good to go. Okay, so it's going to start kind of in the middle, but that's where our beginning, you remember I said it has a start point and an end point? That's its start point. So, did it again, guys. Let's lift that foot. Let's thread the needle. Oh, you know what? I think I may have done something like bent my needle threader or something. Let's try this again because it has not been threading. Or maybe I am using a very small-eyed needle, so maybe that's it. I did not change my needle. So I'm just going to thread it by hand. I mean, it happens to all of us. There we go. All right, so here we go. Now we're actually going to start stitching. All right, so that's just going to take, since about 2 minutes. So look how pretty that already is. Oh, let's brighten it up so you can see it now. There you go. You know, Diane, I tried that. I think I didn't honestly change my needle from the other night. I should be using, okay, I'm not going to tell you what I'm using right now. But, and you will notice sometimes the quilting goes off the edge. Do not worry about that, I promise, because that's a lot of your top quilting up there is going to be caught in your binding anyway, so please don't worry about that. Yeah, we're not going to talk about the needle right now. So, because I got lazy. Now, doing it this way is a lot of work, but it comes out so nice. And so if you're going to do this, especially on a large quilt, you want to take a couple days. Just like if you're going to quilt it yourself, you're going to take some time to do this. But it does come out really pretty, and man, does it make you look like so good. And when someone asks you, did you quilt that? You're gonna be like, yeah, I quilted it. I mean, you know, you don't have to tell them that, you know, did it by embroidery. I mean, you can tell them whatever you want, but be like, yeah, I did that. I mean, you spent the time to actually hoop, unhoop, did all this, you know, and, you know, they are just like, you know, the designs that long arm quilters use. So, oh, Carly Porter. Carly Porter has designs too. I forgot all about that. And so you can use her design. I forgot to do something. Oh my God. I'm so mad at myself. Did you see how it tied off? I forgot to turn off the tie off and the tie off point. We'll do that on the next one. Don't worry about that because I should have moved that, but that's okay. Okay, so now what it says is on the screen, and that is my fault. So what we're going to do here, it says on the screen, embroidery finish, okay to connect the next pattern. I'm going to say okay. So just on the screen, I'm just going to hit okay. Okay. And now what's going to happen is, let's go back to our screen. Oh, what color dot bobbin are we supposed to use on the embroidery? For the Solaris, Diane is correct. We're going to use, yeah. So you are, Diane is correct. You want to use on the Solaris, the bobbin case with the purple dot inside of it. That is your best bet. So, please use that. I am, you know, a lot of people are like, I never change. You're good. You're fine. Like I said, I follow all the rules, especially with my machines. I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. And when I say don't sew over needles or pins, don't sew over pins. When I say change your bobbin case, change your bobbin case. There are reasons for that. Unless you want your machine to have a beautiful long spa day at your dealers, then fine, you can do whatever you want, but try to follow those rules. Yeah. Okay, so now we're back. Okay, and it says this is where a lot of people are like, I don't like this part. And I get it. But so now what it's going to say is please rehoop the fabric to the right side while including the right side edge of the pattern on the left. And you're like, what? Okay, so basically what we're going to do is unhoop this. We're going to move the fabric, and let me zoom in here. And you want to leave, to use our mouse, you want to leave about that much of the design in, okay? We especially want this little piece right here hanging out, okay? So I'm just going to do it on my machine. You listen to me. You want to do this on a flat surface, okay? I know I am going, oh, I'm actually just going to leave it on the machine. Do I have my, I need my little guy. Where are you, honey? Where are you, honey? I'm just doing this for time's sake, and so I'm not like getting up and down and knocking everything over because, you know, that's part of my charm is I go and I knock everything over. But I'm just gonna do it. You're not gonna even see me do it. Well, you know what? You can watch me do this. If you now, okay, let's pretend. Okay, you can do this on the hoop if you have, or on the machine, if you have a magnetic hoop. So let's pretend like I'm using a magnetic. Anna has a magnetic hoop. So I'm gonna pop this open. This here. And now what I'm going to do is move this over. What's going to be hard is you not being able to see because this light is here. But I'm going to move this all the way over. I might have to. Because yeah, I hope it's a little large, but I might have to take it off a little bit. So let's get that all the way over. I want to make sure I can still have some of the other guy hanging out. Some of that fabric's still hanging in. So slide this on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring this off of the hoop a little bit here. So I can make sure that we get that. piece in there. I probably could have made the fabric a little bit longer. I'm going to smooth her out a little bit. There are some people that are probably going, oh God, Anna, what are you doing? I'm not pulling. I don't like to pull the fabric in the hoop at all, period. But if we look, I'm going to zoom in here really quickly. So see how I have that little guy hanging on right there? Why purple versus the green dot? Sheila, great question. Because when Baby Lock sends that to you, they have perfectly weighted, no, excuse me, they have perfectly set the tension for you for embroidery in the purple dot. Vice versa for sewing. The other one is for sewing. Now, depending on what machine you're talking about. So this is for, I'm talking about the Solaris. So, you know, if it's read your manual, if it's for, you know, a different machine. So yeah, because of the tension, they've already gone and set the tension for you, so you don't have to stress. Okay, so I'm gonna tighten that back up. I'll slide it back on and tighten it back up. Now, it will let you know if you have not hooped pretty. So, and I'll talk about that here. Like if I hoop too high, it's not gonna let me go to a certain, you know. So, okay. Go back here. And then we're gonna jump back to the screen. On my Destiny, I use the green bobbin all the time. It seems like the Solaris works better with the purple bobbin. See, and that's the other thing, you know, it's like I was saying, like some people say they use the same thing all the time and it works best for them. I'm a truist. I follow the rules of the book because I'm scared they may come get me. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here's the thing. Now we did that step, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is select OK. And now what it's going to do is it's going to say use the move keys to align the start point with the end point. Remember I said there was a start point. So that's going to be this start point right here with the end point of the previous pattern. So I'm going to say OK. And it's going to move here. And then we're going to jump back to the other camera. And we're going to lighten that. Darken that so y'all can see what in the world's going on here. And I'm going to use my move keys, okay? I don't like to use like my fingers or anything like that. Now I'm going to move this all the way over. If it stops me, then that means I need to rehoop a little bit more. I'm using my little green crosshair to attach these two ends. Okay, so let me zoom in so you can see. So every second or so, you can see that little green crosshair touching the end of this point. Let me see if I should go down here. And over one. Always feel a little nervous. What I get nervous about is if I put the needle down. So let me see something here. Okay, so it's going to say the same thing about how we did it earlier about the top part where it's going to say, hey, let's check the top area. So I'm going to go okay. And again, it is perfect right up at the top, so I'm not going to stress about that. So I'm going to say okay. Okay, now what I want you to notice is, oh, now I can see something, okay? I can see something here. Let's see if I can get in. And you may not be able to see it, but right here where they're supposed to meet, I am off just a baby hair. So let me show you how to fix that. And that's why the projector is so amazing. And I'm going to say this, we were the first. Okay, anyways, did I say that out loud? Okay, anyways. So I'm going to go to layout and I'm going to go to move. And I'm literally just going to hit my arrow over button one time. Okay. See, I can go back and move that if I need to, and then look at it and bang, it is right on point now. Okay. So you can do that if you want to. I wish this wasn't here. See, I'm gonna have to remove all these. I don't need them. Well, I mean, do I need them for the next point? I can't remember. So anyways, anywho. So now what's gonna happen is this is gonna stitch out, but let me, oh, you're not watching that part yet. 1 second. Okay, and your Solaris hates the purple dot. Janice, you may want to let your technician know that. That's important. Actually, that's very, very important. That means the tension's off in the bobbin case. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. This is what I should have told you to do in the beginning, okay? So you're going to come down here to the little pair of scissors, and you are going to do this right here. We're going to turn that off, okay? Now we're going to say okay. And then let's come over here back to this little guy, and I'm going to zoom out. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our plus minus key. Remember, it's the key at the bottom that has the plus and minus. And you are going to hit +1. And then we're going to grab the thread. This is from a traditional quilting standpoint. You're going to grab the top thread, hold it, press your needle down button, press it again, pull up. Your bobbin thread's going to be right there. If you have a pair of tweezers, go ahead and grab it. And now pull your bobbin thread up, hold these two, and then you can start. Now, you do not have to do this, but this is traditional. And what happens with this is, now I'm going to -1 to go back. What happens with this is when you're done, you'll go and bury these threads. That way you don't see a bunch of knots. Okay. So we're going to start. And that can just lay out of the way. All right, perfect. Here we go. Let's get that light a little bit better. A lot better. There we go. Look how pretty that is. That's just it's a beautiful stitch. Holding on to my bobbin thread here. If I can get that out of the way there. Yeah, it's a lot easier to use. Why did you cut? It's still cut even though I turned it off. That's odd. Let me check something here. Oh, did I not turn off the tie off too? Oh, 1 second. Y'all just watch that. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Is I did forget to turn off the tie off. So that tied off there when I should have had it. Anna. Okay. Well, I'm going to cut this thread here. Okay. So let me lift the foot and do some trimming here because I messed up myself here. But just ignore me. Get under there. Okay. So now we are going to do the same thing. Now it's going to tell me to rehoop, but I think I have enough room. Let me show you on, are y'all seeing that? Yeah, you are. So I really think I have enough room over here. Let me show you here. So I'm going to try it without rehooping. So let me darken that up. So on the screen, it's going to tell me to do the same things. Okay. It's going to say rehoop. We're going to look for this little point here. So I'm going to say, okay, and let's see if we can make it work. Okay. All right. So we are going to use our little arrows. Move over. Sometimes you won't have to rehoop, but depending on the size of the hoop you have. So smooth it there. Okay. And then I'm going to say, okay. And then it's going to say, use the rotate keys. Now this screen's a little different. So let me show you because we're on the last spot. All right. So what it's going to say is use the rotate keys like we did last time to adjust the angle and size the pattern while keeping an eye on the edges. So now what it's telling me to do is I can size it to meet the outside edge as well. So I'm just going to say, okay. All right. So let me show you where it's at now. Look at this. You're going to be like, what? That doesn't look right. Okay. So it's way out here now. So sorry for the light, but it's way out here now. Okay. So what I need to do is use these keys right here. It's straight. It's where it needs to be, but I'm just going to use this little guy to shrink it in a little bit to make it fit into that area. So let me show you now on, oh, you saw it. I'm sorry. Let's darken it up just a little bit. Let me do this. Really see her good. There we go. So there's my T. And so you saw me bring it in a little bit there. Bring it in. Okay, good. So I'm going to say, okay. And now what it wants to do is I'm going to go to layout. Let me show you this on the screen, what I did earlier. But you're about to see me. Hey, this is what I look like when I'm doing all this. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to layout, and I'm going to push the blah 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 key, the plus minus. I'm going to hit +1, and so that way I can check to make sure my needle is going to hit exactly on that beginning. And I think I need to move it over just a hair. Oops, I accidentally hit my needle down, so I've already pulled up my thread. But I do need to move it over. I'm going to push OK, layout. Oh, that's because I did +1, so I need to go back -1. Now it's not going to let me. That's okay. I don't want to mess with anything. Do not want to mess anything. That's okay. I'm just going to leave it as is. It's fine. It should be fine. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is hit start, and it should start stitching. And let's zoom on over. I've already pulled up my thread. Oh, can we stop for a second? Because what I want to do is hit that, turn off the end color trim too. Okay, there we go. Woof. Yeah, it's a really beautiful design. Let me jump back over to you guys, or to this. Here we go. Let's zoom out so the light's not too annoying for you guys. And there we go. That reminds me a little bit of hibiscus, right? Now, what's really cool about it is even though we brought it in, it didn't change the size of the flowers. You remember how, you know, it was sticking out here, but we brought it in. It didn't change the size of the flowers. It just kind of brings it in a little bit. So, which is pretty darn cool, I think. So maybe if I'm correctly, the little end marks are to help us line up. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. Oh, it's so pretty. It really is beautiful. I'm happy with the green. I didn't think I was gonna be happy with the green, but that's okay. So I'll probably just turn this into like a little sample, bind it and, you know, not gonna use it for anything. But what would be really pretty is if you did a bunch of these blocks and then put them into like a little quilt, put little borders in between them, put them into a quilt for like a little wall hanging or something like that. Well, that didn't work. What I was trying to do is zoom to kind of focus a little bit more, but it's not really focusing that well. Yes, I know this doesn't look beautiful. It's because I'm not hooping on a flat surface like I should be. Okay, so it's going to stop there. And you see how it just goes off. That's perfect. Now, guess what? Let's going to do that little guy. I still did it. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. I'm mad at it. I'm going to ignore it. So now it's going to put another little mark right here. Perfect. Okay. Now it says embroidery is finished. Okay to connect next pattern. And again, I've given y'all such a terrible view today, aren't I? I'm just not good at it. Okay, so I'm going to say okay on the screen. And what it's going to say is Anna. Unhoop. Let's just zoom out and give you some light here. Why is that so blurry? I'm trying my hardest to get that to zoom in perfectly, but it's not. Okay, so there is a reason why those are here. Okay, so what it's going to do is it says one row is finished. Let me show you the screen. You can see what it says. One row is finished. To start, zoom in a little bit. To start with the next row, rehoop the fabric to the left edge of the next row while including the thread mark of the upper pattern in the hoop. So you've got these two little marks that it left. So we're going to include those. And what I'm going to do is jump off camera here and try not to knock anything over and get this really flat on a flat surface. So give me a second. Try not to knock things over. Because I do think this is important here. Let me smooth her out a little bit. Turned out to be a pretty girl. Very pretty girl. And I think I'm just going to run through this without doing the needle down stuff because it's becoming a little bit crazy here. Okay, just for y'all's purposes. Maybe this hoop's a little bit too big, but that's fine. I think it'll work fine. Okay. Really, for this, I probably could have used my 5x7, but do you know how much work that would have been? Oh, hello. All right. Okay. I'm coming back. Here I come. All right. So there I go. So I've got it rehooped. You can't see that, obviously. But I'm going to say okay. And now what it's going to say is, okay, so on that little mark that it left, those little bitty arrows, we're going to put our little marking area, our little T on that marked area. So use the move pattern keys to align the upper left corner of the pattern area with the lower left thread mark of the upper pattern. Okay, so let's check this. Oh, good. Norma, how you been? Okay, awesome. Okay, so here we go again. Let's darken it up. One day I'm going to invest in some really neat stuff here. Okay, so now what I'm going to say is okay on the screen, and I'm just going to use my move keys. So hopefully it won't fuss at me. So I'm going to move that little cursor all the way over. Oh, good, 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 good. Okay, here we go. I'm going to get them aligned with that little marker it made. Okay, and then I'm going to select okay. And then let's watch this. Now let's look at the screen now. I have to learn how to do split screen. That would be really cool. Okay, so there we go. Now it's going to kind of do what it did on that last step. Use the rotate keys to adjust it to the, am I adjusting it to the other? Let's see, angle, let's see. Use the rotate keys and the size keys to adjust the angle and size of the pattern while keeping an eye on the edges. Okay, so let's do that. So let's jump back over. And there we go. We'll push OK. All right. And it's pretty close, but I'm going to move it down just a hair. And so I'll show you, give me just a second, but this is where I get to use these guys here. So I'm just going to use the 1% down key. Okay. And I'll show you on, oh, you didn't get to see that. I'm sorry. So on the screen is the percentage ones. So I just used the 1% down and now it hits perfectly right there. Okay. So now I'm going to select OK and now it's time to embroider. So I'm going to hit start and it's going to start. It's starting a little further over than I wanted, but no, that's about right. It's in a line with up here. So actually, it's okay. So now it's just going to embroider. Now, of course, with these being smaller areas, you know, this is taking a while because we're having to hoop and rehoop. But, you know, when you get the bigger ones, you're using your largest hoop and all that's going to take a little bit more time. That's looking so pretty. All right. I'm just ignoring the whole, not wanting to do what it wants to do or doing whatever it wants to do. So now, again, it's going to say embroidery is finished. Okay to connect to the next pattern. I'm going to say okay. And what it's going to do is do the whole, hey, we're going to rehoop to the right, moving this over, or we're going to move it to the left, but we're going to rehoop so we can see these two markers right here. And so we can do that. Hopefully I can do it up here. If I can't, then I'll move it. I'll just do it off screen. I need to loosen this little gal here. Now, and the reason why it has the little angle things and all that is because we're not perfect hoopers, right? I'm not. Sure. Terrible at it sometimes. A lot. So, but that's why the magnetic help hoops are so great. I really need to invest in the baby lock ones. I just haven't had, I forget about them all the time. How do you forget? Okay, so, no, because I have my fabric way too far down. Way, way, way too far. So that's not gonna work. There we go. And it is kind of wonky, and that's okay though, because my machine's going to help me with that. You can kind of see. Okay. Yeah. All right, now she's ready. So I'm going to say, okay. It's going to walk me through the same process. It's going to come to the end point here. It's hard to see, but so I'm going to say, okay, on my screen. Okay, it's telling me I should do my job and close the door. I call it the door. So we're going to move this guy down here. And hopefully, if I hooped correctly, it'll go all the way down. Now, again, if you find if it stops, that means you just need to change how it's hooped. Okay, that's all that matters, or all it is. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to select OK again, and then it's going to do the whole angle thing again. Okay, so I'm going to say OK on my screen. And now my angle is way up here. Let me darken it a little bit so you can see it. And let's get in close so you can see it. So hard to see, but my little triangle or my little T is up here. I need to bring it down here. So I'm going to use my little, yeah, I'm going to use my little 1% to bring it down. There we go. Oops, excuse me. So it is touching that now. Okay. So now I'm going to say okay. But I want you to look on my screen actually real quick and see what happened here. This is what I was saying. I hooped wonky, so my machine knows. Look at that. You see how it's wonky now? Because I hooped wonky. So it's like, okay, well, let's fix that. And I'm going to say, okay, thank you for being you. Thank you for making me look good. Okay. So let's zoom out so we can see what's happening. And we're just going to start. So she's going to go and start there. And quite honestly, we're almost done. Now, each section is taking about 2 minutes each time. So it's really, really doesn't take that long. But it is really pretty. When you're done, you will remove those little bitty marks there. We're almost done. Yay. And I never could have done this freehand. Yeah, seriously. I can't even stipple, guys. I am like so terrible at that. I can do a beautiful crosshatch. I'm good at that, keeping a straight line. But anything that involves curves or anything, I can't even sew a curve barely. I'm terrible at circular motions or anything curvy. But this just makes it look so effortless and it's so pretty. Thank you, embroidery people, gods, whoever who came up with these ideas, because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so it's going to stop right there. Of course, it's going to cut because it doesn't like me right now. All right, last piece. Now I'm going to say okay on the screen, and let's take a look at the screen and see what's happening. See what it's going to tell us to do for this very last piece. All right, so it's going to basically tell us the same thing. Rehoop, blah, blah, blah. We're going to look for those points. And we're going to find the end point again. Okay, so let's rehoop. Just going to do it very quickly here. Now, I do not have a lot of movement, so I'm just moving actually a little baby hair over. I probably could have just stayed where I was, to be quite honest. I don't have a lot of places I can go right at the moment. Come on. Oh, that looks too. Oh, okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera back on. There we go. There she is. Let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. All right. So now I'm going to come to, my point is right here. So I'm going to move that using my arrows. What am I doing? Aren't you moving? Interesting. He's not moving. What's happening? Oh, don't do the spinning wheel, sweetie. Oh, my bad. Okay. Oh, oh no, that's because that wasn't closed. Oops. Okay. So something happened. So I'm gonna have to wing it here, okay? So what I'm gonna have to do is I had a problem, a big problem. So I am going to manually move it to where it's supposed to be. I missed I didn't miss any steps. It just the little door on my hoop wasn't closed, so it was not doing what it's supposed to. So I am actually, and the unfortunate thing is you can't go back. So I'm gonna have to just wing this last spot, but I think we'll be fine. Okay. Okay. You might have to do a little bit of rotating. Oh, I'm gonna have to shrink it in. Oh, good. It still allows me to do this part. Okay, so I'm gonna have to shrink her in a little bit. Okay, that's all it's gonna let me do, which is fine. I'm gonna bring her up a little bit. Okay, so it does let me do it. Okay. This one may be off just a hair here, which is fine. I'm not too stressed about it, okay? So we can do it on the end screen. Last section. So excited. And it did really come out really pretty. Now, what I do want to say is if you don't get things exactly on the point, you know, like you're like off just like a baby hair, do not stress because you're never going to notice it and nobody else is going to notice it either. You see what I'm saying? Just like in quilting and in life, nothing is perfect. So never call out your imperfections on a quilt because quite honestly, no one's going to notice them. And the same goes for this. Not one person is ever going to notice them, but you. We're harder on ourselves than we are on anything else in this world. So I have always been told in this industry, fake it till you make it. And what that means is if you are happy with the way it came out, no one's going to notice any of those imperfections at all, period. Because we're all imperfect. There's nothing perfect. And if we were perfect, oh my God, that'd be like the most boring life to have. It's done. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it, love it, love it. All right, guess what? She's done. Hallelujah. Okay. Well, now it's time to take her off and let's take a look at her. Okay. All right, y'all want to see? And yeah, and this is probably why you want to match the thread to the back. And you'll kind of see if I hold it up kind of close to you. You can see some of that thread on the back, but ta-da, she's so pretty. I don't know how good you can see that, but it is really, really pretty. So it's really quite easy once you get the hang of it. So you know, what I'm going to do with this is just probably clean it up and put a binding around it and just keep it as a sample. But it can be done. It's so easy, especially with our little tricks, our little lifesavers in there. Again, next week, we are going to be doing something very, very similar. It's a similar process on the Meridian, which is the same as the Altair. Altair just has a sewing aspect. And I think it's kind of similar to the, it's got to be similar to the Destiny. So if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Hang on for the next month. We're going to be doing a lot of this. And yeah, so thank you guys. It's really, really fun. And if you do some of this, even just practicing, please post it. I'd love to see how you're coming along with it. It's pretty fun. And even just practicing it is going to inspire you to do your quilts. Or, okay, let's start over. Do you have to do this for just quilts? Heck no. That means you could take a big piece. Let's say you're making a pillow, a big giant pillow or something like that, and it's bigger than your normal hoop, so you can't use your fills or anything like that. You know, use this for that, you know, use it for whatever. So, okay. Well, I hope you all have a great week. Thank you so much for coming again. Yeah, so shop local, shop small, and I'll